Hi, this is Julie Lynn Gibbons, Liberal Lucy from MichiganLiberal.com, and I'm here this afternoon with State Representative Andy Meisner from Ferndale down in the Metro Detroit area to talk about a piece of legislation that he's recently introduced, House Bill 4616, dealing with stem cell research. Thanks for joining me this afternoon, Andy. I appreciate it.
Certainly.
So I had a question. I have Crohn's disease, and along with almost 2 other million people here in the U.S., and stem cell research is something that's really important to me because I think that could help provide a lot of answers to Crohn's disease along with a myriad of other illnesses. And I understand that you've introduced this legislation, and I was wondering if you could just tell me a little bit about it.
Sure. Julie Lynn, a lot of people don't realize, when they hear about stem cell research laws, they think about the federal law in Washington, D.C., and they think about the legislation that Bush has vetoed and is threatening to veto, and that guys like Joe Nolenberg have unfortunately voted against. What they don't realize is that Michigan has got its own restrictions on stem cell research that are more severe than the federal restrictions. So in Michigan, it's illegal to do stem cell research. And it's also illegal to do another process called somatic cell nuclear transfer, which hasn't actually been done yet, but is something that could benefit patients like you. And these embryonic stem cells in particular, they're pluripotent, which means that they can take the form of any kind of cell in the body. So if you have something like, say, a spinal cord injury, you can coax these embryonic stem cells into taking the form of neurons along the spinal cord.
Wow.
So you might have seen on 60 Minutes last year, like they had this rat where they grafted stem cells onto the spine and it was walking again. Crohn's disease, ALS, juvenile diabetes, cancer. These are just a number of diseases that they feel that this research could really benefit potentially.
So what is it about your bill that is going to be really good for Michigan?
Well, I think it's twofold. One is, you talked about sufferers just from Crohn's disease. When you include some of the other conditions like Parkinson's, Alzheimer's, ALS, you're literally talking about millions of Michigan residents who could benefit from a breakthrough in terms of treatments, cures potentially. So I think the primary driver is just making sick people well.
Yeah.
Another argument that I think is very strong is that the economic development argument. Going back to Governor Engler, his years, he saw the need for Michigan to diversify the economy and to get us invested in the life sciences. That's something that Governor Granholm has continued and really built on. But here we are trying to compete with life sciences for life sciences jobs when we've got this stem cell research ban. So it sends a message to entrepreneurs and researchers that we've got our head in the sand. And so we're losing out on hundreds of millions of dollars in research, while states like California, Wisconsin, Connecticut, Illinois, New Jersey, Massachusetts, as well as a lot of other countries are investing heavily in this research.
So a lot of people think it's a philosophical issue, it's a moral issue. It sounds like among that, it's definitely an economic issue, especially as we struggle with our budget here in Michigan. So what is it that your bill stipulates will be done with those embryos?
Very important distinction. Right now in Michigan, excess embryos are being thrown away by the thousand. So that when parents go to a fertility clinic, they cultivate embryos in a petri dish, they look for the one that's healthy, and then they implant that. The ones that aren't implanted either get frozen down or thrown away.
Wow.
What my legislation will do is to give parents another choice. Give parents a choice to say, hey, instead of this embryo going in the garbage can, which should be upsetting to anybody that thinks that life begins after conception, we're going to create life-affirming opportunities from this research and say that you can't get paid for the embryo, you must provide it with written, informed consent, but that if parents want that choice, then that is a choice that would be given to them, and something that I think really addresses a lot of the ethical concerns. It's my belief that we have a moral imperative to do everything that we can to pursue this research and improve the human condition.
Great.
That's the way that a majority of Michigan residents feel about it as well.
So it sounds like it's a whole new argument to the whole perception of right to life.
I think so. I think that, Congressman Joe Schwartz said on the floor of the House of Representatives, being pro-stem cell is the only pro-life position.
So if people want to help support this bill, I do, and I'm sure lots of our readers over at MichiganLiberal.com do, House Bill 4616. How can we help get this passed?
Well, you can keep in touch with me online. My website is www.andymeisner.com. We had a little hiccup with it, but it should be back up. And we have information on there, and they can contact me at 517-373-0478 if they wanted to use an outdated mode of communication.
And we'll definitely keep updates on it over at Michigan Liberal. I really appreciate you taking time out of your very busy schedule this afternoon. Thank you for all that you're doing here in Lansing, and hope to see you again at Michigan Liberal.
Thank you. Go Mich Lib.